Are you letting God help you carry the burden in your business? Welcome back to Faith and Focus, a companion to the TSA Weekly podcast, specifically designed for Christian business owners, helping us to learn to seek God in everything that we do in our business. Over on the TSA Weekly, we're talking about when your business just feels hard and whether or not it should. We're talking about some of the practical reasons why that happens, why things start to feel hard, and also things that we can start to do to help us let it be easy. But over here on Faith and Focus, as always, we're going to look to God's word and what God has to say about it. So before we dive into this, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and ring that little notification bell so that you never miss a tutorial or upload. I also want to give you a heads up that if you haven't watched the TSA Weekly episode yet, make sure that you do, because over at the end of that, there's a real special surprise, somebody that I'm introducing you to that you will not want to miss. So after you're done with this episode, make sure you pop over there and go check that out. But God put it on my heart today, just this idea of, especially as solo business owners, which I know not everybody is. Some people have a partner or a team or maybe even a little bit of a larger business, but it can still feel very isolating and very much like we're on our own as a business owner. And that alone can make business feel hard. It can make it feel harder than it needs to. And so, obviously, surrounding yourself with other business owners and not doing it alone, whether you have a coach or a mentor or it's just other colleagues in that business arena that are helping to lighten that load just by existing, just by being there and showing you that you're not the only one doing this. And I just want to remind you that even if you don't have those people yet, you haven't figured out where that community is for you or who those people are going to be, you already have the best person to help you with that, and that's God. Every time that you are just feeling super frustrated or struggling with something in your business, I mean, it'd be awesome if I could say that God could come alongside and like fix that issue, rewrite that email for you, or, set up that automation. Yeah, he's not going to do that for you in the practical sense, but just going and praying to him and talking to him can help lighten that load so much. Just by telling him what you're frustrated with and praying for guidance, praying for that assistance can not only bring along the actual practical resource that you need, maybe he will bring someone into your awareness or point out someone that can be that support for you. But if nothing else, just sometimes just saying it, just saying those frustrations and getting it off your chest in prayer, talking to God about that can lighten the load all by itself. There are plenty of verses in the Bible that talk about God sharing our burdens and how much he wants to help lighten the load. And granted, he's not talking about your business. We've talked about this before. Obviously, the things that are said in the Bible are said to us about our lives and are said to us about everything. But many of them can also apply and do also apply to your business, especially in my opinion, if you are a solo business owner, because your business is so intrinsically tied to you and who you are, right? So one of the things I said over on the TSA Weekly is that, we often run into these resistances as we try certain strategies and things in our business, things that we think we're supposed to do. It's that should word coming up where somebody says, oh, you should be doing videos and having a YouTube channel, or you should be sending 4 emails a week, or gosh, please don't send 4 emails a week. But you should be doing this or that because it worked for me or because it's just the way you're supposed to do things. When we come up against those resistances, we often feel like business is too hard because it's not playing into our natural strengths. But we don't necessarily know where to go with that, what to do with that. And this is one of those times where we can go to God and say, God, this just feels too hard for me. Is this something that you're trying to teach me through? Is this something you're trying to help me learn? Or am I just going down the wrong path, barking up the wrong tree, whatever it might be? Can you show me, God, please, which one is it? Are you trying to teach me, or am I trying to do something that I really don't need to be doing in the first place? So I'm going to read 2 specific verses for us here, but I encourage you to go and maybe these are verses you can focus on this week in your morning devotionals or whenever you do your devotionals and see if God has something more to say to you on this topic. But the first one is going to be Proverbs 3, 5 through 6. And this is in the NIV translation. This is one of those verses that gets quoted and used a lot. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, submit to him, and he will make your paths straight. This is a fabulous verse, but especially in this translation, it's a little churchy, right? We know that we're supposed to trust God, and this is probably, if you grew up in the church, this is probably a memory verse that you learned at one point, right? I could probably just do it by rote. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him, and he will make your path straight. That has a tendency to do exactly what it just sounded like when I said it. It becomes less meaningful. So, this is one that I want us to look at in the message translation as well, because as it modernizes the wording, it tends to, well, for me, it takes on so much more meaning and it helps me to understand better the intention that I need to have in order to help me trust him more. So, let's look at that in the message translation. It says, trust God from the bottom of your heart. Don't try to figure out everything on your own. Okay, side note, that's the part that I need so much. And I'm guessing you probably do too. I don't have to figure out everything on my own. And here God is saying in the Bible, don't try to figure it out all on your own. Listen for God's voice in everything that you do, everywhere you go. He is the one that will keep you on track. So while I obviously encourage and myself, I also go and seek opinions and advice and all of that from different thought leaders, business mentors, my channel, hopefully. What we all have to say is not the thing that is meant to keep you on track. God is meant to keep you on track. He is the one that is going to keep you moving, and especially in your business, in the direction that he always intended it to go. Now, he can speak through all of us, and so it's good to listen to all of those things, but it's not meant for you to take any one of us and just follow behind our path and do exactly what we're telling you to do. Take those ideas and bring them to God and say, is this what you're wanting me to do? Is this the path that is going to let my business be easy and let it go in the direction that you've designed it to go in, that you've designed me to take it in? Let God speak to you through those things. And I know listening to God's voice and listening for God's voice can be super challenging. It's something that I have struggled myself with a lot. And maybe that's a future episode for us here where we can talk about knowing when you're hearing and listening for God's voice versus just hearing other people's opinions or even just hearing your own thoughts and desires. So maybe we will talk about that. Let me know in the comments if that would be helpful, because that's something I've personally been working on to better know and trust when I'm hearing God's voice. So let me know if that's something that you guys would like for us to talk about here. But it's a huge part of allowing God to take some of that burden is realizing that he will guide you if you let him. And that means that it's not all on you to figure out what comes next or what you're supposed to be doing. And then the other verse that I mentioned is actually Luke 10:41 through 42. And this is in context when Jesus is visiting Mary and Martha. And if you know that story and you're an entrepreneur and type A, probably because a lot of us are, then you probably identify very, very closely with Martha here, who is being the consummate host and trying to take care of Jesus and making sure that the meal is prepared and everything is clean and everything is perfect and ready to go. And does any of that sound familiar when you're talking about your business and trying to create this community, maybe, or platform or environment for your clients? Are you worrying and fussing too much? And granted, I'm not trying to say there's a direct correlation between these two things here, but there are things we can learn from what he says to Martha here. Jesus says, Martha, Martha, you are worried and upset about many things, but few things are needed, or indeed only one. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her. This is another time where this is the NIV and it's a little churchy, so let's look at the message version one more time. Martha, dear Martha, you are fussing far too much and getting yourself worked up over nothing. Sound familiar? One thing only is essential, and Mary has chosen it. It's the main course, and it won't be taken from her. Again, he's talking about Mary choosing to spend time in the presence of Jesus versus worrying about all the logistics of this, that, and the other. not a direct translation here for our businesses, but there's a lot of parallel there. So much of what drives us and what motivates us, especially as Christian business owners, to create our business is that connection and service to our clients and our customers. So while our clients and customers aren't Jesus, that is the thing that matters most. All of the logistics and is my course set up perfectly and is all the tech working correctly, or did something go out that wasn't supposed to, or is my post exactly perfect, or did I look the way I wanted to look in my video? All of those things that we worry about and get caught up in and that often hold us back and stop us from even moving forward in our business, they're not the things that matter. The only thing that matters is that service to our customer. So while your clients and customers may not be the same thing as Mary choosing to be in the presence of Jesus, Matthew 25:40 reminds us that Jesus said, when you do any of these things for the least of these, you also do it for me. That's a paraphrase, of course, because I don't know the exact wording of the verse. But when we serve our customers and connect with them and help them to the absolute best of our ability and stay present and focused with and on them, then it is kind of similar to doing the same thing for Jesus, right? It's important for us to remember that that is the part that matters. So when we allow ourselves to get so caught up in all of the minutia and the hard of our business, we take ourselves away from or even prevent ourselves completely from serving the people that we created the business for in the first place. As Christian business owners, we have the ultimate blessing of being able to allow God to share that burden with us and to come alongside us and help us grow and build the business that He created us to build. I hope this episode encouraged and inspired you. And if it did, please share it with another Christian business owner that could use the same encouragement. Thanks for being here. God bless you and your business. See you in the next episode.